Hello, everybody. They
No
say
one
hello
said
too.
no one said hello.
Well, T just muted his
Oh,
microphone. The show
He's
went live, and he immediately said,
oh,
"Fuck this! I'm not talking to any of y'all."
he has he has to order his food.
He just wanted his name in the credits. I know.
That's
I
right.
see how it is. He was just telling us before we went live how much he hated it. So it was an awful movie. He just wanted his name in the credits. I know.
it's horrible.
But anyway, it's not Thursday night.
Endgame, good thing.
Good thing. It's
that's
Saturday
sad.
night. So Joe and I, T and Zero saw it opening night on Thursday, and then Joe and I just saw it today. Dave is yet to see it, and he's promised us that he will see it as soon as it comes on home video. So I think we're going to go ahead and talk about it now instead of waiting for him to roll around and see what he can do about seeing it. So Avengers.
What movie are we talking about though?
We're talking about A Dog's Purpose.
A Dog's Purpose.
Yeah.
A real tearjerker. I don't even like dogs.
Too bad you saw everything in the trailer.
I mean, it was nice of them. We don't even have to buy a ticket.
Now I'm going to point out that T, you're wearing the same shirt that you wore during your interview end of the week, and people are going to think you only have one shirt in your wardrobe. For those that are paying attention,
That might be true.
or I mean,
You know what I really do? When I have to go live on these shows, I put on a shirt for the live, and then I just wind up whenever I need to go out for real. I will just grab that same shirt.
I do the same thing with underwear. I wear the same pair of underwear every time we're on.
and somehow we all knew that. I don't know. There's no mystery to that. Also, too, when people get called out for having the same shirt, saying you wear the same shit over and over again, I mean, if you really like it, why don't people immediately think maybe you bought multiples of the same shirt or the same clothing? How do they know that's the same exact shirt? It might just be the same design. Maybe you feel meh
It's only $5.
like 4 out of 5 days of the week, so you choose that shirt.
That is true. So maybe I should go $5.
See, we're dropping wisdom and knowledge, and we haven't even gotten to the good stuff yet. All right, we're figure action. If you didn't know that already, I'm sure you did. Oh, yeah. Oh, thank you. My wife just buzzed in and said they know that's not the case for me because I'm too damn cheap to buy more than one. Anyhow, we're going to talk about Avengers Endgame. And we're going to do the first impressions, no spoilers, just in case anybody's made it this far. When I put the notice up on YouTube, I did say that it was going to be a spoiler discussion, and it will. But we figure we'll give it a few minutes with non-spoilers in case anybody cares what we think prior to us dropping any plot bombs. So we have with us tonight Mr. Joe Crab.
Hey, everybody.
He's there. He's just in his room. He's half naked, and he doesn't want you guys to know that he's half naked.
Yeah, well, I think I'm closer to naked than I am fully clothed, so I figure I'm going to go no camera.
Okay. Also, we have on location at the restaurant, T-Man 978.
Hi, everybody.
Is he already there eating?
What do you mean already there?
Yeah.
He's already at the restaurant? He's already eating?
That's live. That's
Damn,
footage you see
that
there.
was fast. I guess that's what happens when you're in a city. You can just, walk out and get something to eat real quick.
I think they know who he is. They probably saw him coming, knew his order, said yes, sir.
What did you order? Did you order the combo, the L16 combo?
You know what? I got a combo, but I don't know what number it is.
Oh, I was gonna say, I think it's the L16's always the General Toes. I think, because every Chinese place uses the same big piece of paper menu. They all have the same stuff.
I just found out that General Tso's and orange chicken are the same thing, just one doesn't have oranges.
I thought General Tso's tended to be spicy.
Yeah, they tend to be spicy.
Orange chicken is spicy too.
Not
don't
the
think
orange
I've
chicken I
ever-
ever have.
Well, maybe we'll do another B-side and
Oh,
we'll
it's-
compare live orange chicken and General Tso's chicken.
I was gonna say maybe we'll do another B-side about Endgame. This one's gonna be converted over to General Tso's B-side. We can all speak at length.
Yes.
But
How did
anyway,
you
like
feel, Matt?
what's that
So how did you feel about it?
about the chicken? I mean, orange chicken tends to be a little bit more flavorful. General Tso's tends to give you a little extra added punch.
Don't badmouth General Tso's.
No, I like it. I like them both. I mean, you're not even listening. I was happy with both choices. If you chose either one for me, I'd be happy with it as long as you got me an egg roll.
Okay.
And I know there's a difference between egg roll and like spring roll, but I like them both, so you're good either way.
Well, what about that little tiny movie that came out recently that we both went and watched today? It was a real short film.
Yeah, the dog. The dog purpose. No. Okay. Anyway, we bullshitted long enough. We'll bullshit more in a few minutes, I'm sure. But Avengers Endgame, Marvel Cinematic Universe, has capped off their 11-year journey, 22 films.
Was it 11 years?
Mm-hmm.
Man.
It was 11 years. And they pulled off something pretty goddamn special, I think.
Yes.
I don't think anybody's ever done anything close to that, and I think it'll probably be a long time before anybody comes close to doing it again. DC's right. I mean, DC is this close. They're right there. They're nipping at the heels.
Yeah, if they would have done their build-up, they could have won.
I'm sure you said something insightful, but you broke up pretty badly.
They should have did a bigger build-up.
You think they tried to jump straight to the climax, as it were? There was no foreplay. They just jumped right in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the worst porn.
Amazing. And that's why everybody shows up to us for the hard
That's
hitting.
right.
The hard
But
hitting
don't-
comparison.
But don't some of us just skip straight to that? You know, when you're on the Pornhub, do you just skip straight to the scene that you want to see? Do you skip all the dialogue?
Oh,
I mean, I need to know
in
the
recent
story.
years, they've gotten so cinematic.
Yeah, you need to know why, her plumbing needs fixed. Right?
I mean, was the copy machine, did someone mistreated, or was it like a running problem with the model?
It's probably when she dropped the wrench on it on purpose when she saw the dude out.
I think we need to
That's
talk
the one
more
to fix
about
the
this. So
plumbing.
this is going to be the Chinese food porn analysis B-side.
Yeah.
So let's start. T, I'm going to let you eat your meal some. Joe, why don't you give us your overview? Now I don't have that sound that threw me off when he muted it. I'm like, oh, now I don't have to fight it.
Yeah.
Why don't you give me your quick? How did you feel, non-spoilery, about Endgame?
I loved it. I went into it, not really knowing what to expect. How especially with it being a 3-hour long movie. I knew obviously they were going to have a lot of time to tie up all these stories, but I really didn't know, how it was going to go down. I only watched the trailers. I didn't read any articles. I didn't look into it other than just watching the prior movies and seeing the 2 or 3 trailers that came out.
So you avoided all information.
So I tried to
spoilers, all
avoid
that.
everything as much as possible. And all I can say is, without going into spoilers, is it is a very satisfying, and it doesn't have to be a conclusion, but it can be a conclusion. It's a very satisfying possible conclusion to at least especially the core group of characters that we've watched over these 20 some odd movies. And it was very emotional. I didn't expect it to be so emotional, and it had a lot of emotion behind it. Almost every emotion that you can really think of you probably felt while you watched that movie.
It's funny you say that because so him and I we went to see the movie together. I sat right next to him in the theater, and the parts that are like extremely sad or the parts that were funny and really good jokes, I would look over at you and you were, I mean, total like zero emotion on your face. I couldn't tell if you were enjoying yourself. I couldn't tell if you'd pissed yourself. I couldn't tell if you were asleep. I didn't know where you stood through the length of the movie. So I thought, okay, well, we'll just wait till the end here to see. Because I was laughing and getting kind of misty-eyed. And
Whenever I watch a movie like this, especially, you know, these big blockbuster movies, I try to zone out as much as I can around me. And, you know, I got my popcorn and I got the screen and I just try to focus on that. There's been very few movies where I've really like T said, like he was like literally like he moved the recliner up and he was like on the edge of his seat and or bust out loud laughing because I want to just focus. Like I'm worried that like if I take 2 seconds for my brain to say, "Oh, that was funny," initiate laugh sequence, that I'll miss something important. So I just like tune in and then I like 3 hours later it's over and then and then of course you got your drive home and I'm thinking about it the whole way home. Me and my brother were driving home. It was relatively, we talked about the movie a good bit, but it was a lot of like a little period of silence where I'm just chewing on what I just experienced. And then I'm asking a question and I'm like, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And then of course I come home and I'm doing stuff around the house. I'm mowing the grass and I'm thinking about all these things. And it's just all that stuff starts coming out. And I actually came up with a lot of like questions 3 hours after the fact that I didn't even think of when I'm watching the movie and when it first ended. But it was, even though I may not have showed much emotion while I was sitting there watching the movie, it was definitely the opening scene. I'm not going to go into any spoilers. Obviously, we'll save that for a few minutes, but it starts off in a very emotional way. And it said, and you immediately are 100% emotionally invested in the story, which we were honestly at the end of the last movie and pretty much all of these movies. But the way, I don't think they could have opened this movie any better than what they did.
I think they cashed in really well on your investment from all the prior movies. It's like, and that sounds like a simple thing for a movie to do, especially the end of such a long, odyssey of films. But I think they captured each character and gave you a moment and something more for each character through this film. Some yanking you in emotionally. The word emotion keeps coming up because it's so relevant, because it really is. It's not, and it's funny because you think these are anybody on the outside looking in says these are superhero movies with no soul that are just you're there to watch strong man punch strong villain, and that's not. I mean, this movie, this movie all in itself didn't even have a whole lot of action until a little later. So that, for again, no spoilers, but this movie does not, even if it's 3 hours, is not afraid to slow down and stop and give you some screen time one-on-one with characters and let them really come forth with their emotions, and then later give you the punching and the kicking and the superpowers. But you definitely stop flat and take in the moment.
Yes.
T-Man, did I catch you between bites? Can you add? How do you feel?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
I really liked everything y'all said. I thought some of that, like, it was enjoyable. I thought some of that slowing down part might have been a little bit too slow. But the payoff, and like Joe said, like, or like you said, the emotion for me wasn't even the sad stuff. It was just so much stuff that was happening that was so epic that I was like overwhelmed with, like, how can this epic stuff be actually happening? And like Joe said, when when they got to the third act of the movie, like stuff started happening and then just kept happening. So I had to put the seat down and I was just anticipating what's going to happen next. Like what's going to happen out top what I just saw, and it just kept doing things to top what they just showed. So yeah, I was totally satisfied.
So is it safe to say everybody here gives it a strong recommend?
Oh yes.
Yes.
Okay.
You have to see it. It's like mandatory. I mean, it's like you've been watching. I watched something earlier. They said this is the most expensive TV show ever. Like you done watched all the build-up episodes, but you're not going to watch the season finale.
Yeah, that's true. So, do we think we want to switch over to the spoiler territory?
Yeah, I think we can go to spoilers. So if anyone does not want to be spoiled, if for some reason you have not seen the movie yet,
So why the heck are you in here?
And you just wanted to listen to us talk, now is the time to leave. Go away, go watch the movie, and come back.
All right,
and now
guys,
we're gonna wait.
Territory.
We're gonna wait about. We're gonna wait 3 hours while everybody goes watch the movie and come back.
Yeah,
so, we should give them some time to drive there and watch the
We'll call it a solid. Well, with trailers in the beginning, we'll call it 4.5 hours. We'll just stay 4.5 hours.
We'll be completely
order a
silent.
couple more meals. I'll get another, pot of coffee going. Like I make pots of coffee. It's a Keiko. All right, so we're in full spoiler territory right now. So ye has been warned. If those are words. Yes, the movie opens with your heart being ripped out because everybody knows what's going to happen, and it's not afraid to show you a man that got out of the life, that is happy where he is, kind of the perfect little picture of the American dream.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody sitting in that theater knows what's about to happen, and it still doesn't matter because.
And I love the way they shot that scene because yeah, as soon as you see, okay, this is Clint Hawkeye with his family, he's teaching his daughter how to shoot the bow and arrow, and you instantly know, okay, we're about to see, and you know it's coming, but it's still, and the way they shot it to where you don't actually see them dust, where he happens to be looking away, and then his daughter's gone, and then while he's looking for where his daughter went, his wife and his other two kids are gone. And you don't actually see it. You see a little bit of dust in the background, I think, but
you do.
You don't. They don't show you, a 6-year-old kid just turning into dust and floating away. But the way they shot that was like, when I'm watching that scene, I'm like, oh my god! As someone that has, we all have kids, and you instantly it put you. You were 100% invested, and like you said, with the cashing in on like all the stuff that they've built up, that meant something because we've got a lot of that backstory with a figure just fell down in the background. What the hell? This is the problem I've noticed, that now that it's getting hot, like my office is getting all like hot and humid, and it's like everything shifts around a little bit temperature wise, and things start to fall off shelves. So I have no idea what just fell, but something fell. Anyway, we've got some story of Hawkeye's family where you would think that it would be so easy to just have Hawkeye come in, shoot some arrows. We don't ever really learn anything about him, but then you wouldn't have been able to set up this movie the way you just did, and have an opening scene like that. And that's what you said it perfectly about cashing in on all those little investments along the way. And this is not the only scene, obviously, that they do it. There's a lot of fan servicey moments, and there's a lot of stuff that does get finally you get the payoff. And they should have just called it Avengers, the payoff of the movie or something, because almost every single character had some sort of significant moment in the film that was a payoff or cashing in of moments that they've had
with them. Yeah.
Yes, exactly, that we've seen. And even though it was like something small, like we got a small glimpse of Hawkeye's family life in Civil War. Was it Civil War?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, well, I think so. And at the time, I mean, he's like, okay, it didn't really mean much, but then now it's like you see that scene, and it makes everything that much more impactful. It really, everything was set up, and they cashed it in perfectly.
I like how they played with certain stuff, like things people were already speculating was going to happen. They brought it up, and then it didn't go that way. Like when Captain Marvel was like, "They're like, where are you going?" They're like, "I'm going to kill Thanos," and that's not how it went down.
Yeah.
But the movie started like a couple of days or a week or something after Infinity War, right?
Well, it would have happened right. The movie started right at the snap because of Hawkeye's family.
Mm-hmm.
And then their first mission would have been, it would have been a week later because they had said they had picked up energy signatures from the Infinity Stones. Like, was it like 7 days after on that planet that they found Thanos on? And then they did the 5-year jump. So you had immediately, and then about a week, and then 5 years later.
Well, I think it was further than that because Tony Stark had said that he was drifting through space for like 20-some days.
Oh, was that
before?
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was like 20-some days before.
Okay. It wasn't a big span of time.
It wasn't a huge. Yeah, it wasn't a huge time jump, but it was somewhere in there. And then they had detected the energy signature on that other planet. How about the way they did that with Thanos? Were either of you surprised that they show up, they have the confrontation with Thanos, and how that scene went down, and how relatively easily he was dispatched?
I was shocked.
Yeah, that was a shocking scene. I mean, he obviously didn't have much fight left in him, and he didn't have any reason to because he had won. He was done. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that was intentional. He was, and this is like one of the things I thought of later too, which I'll get to in a second. That disappointed me, but I loved that scene because all he wanted to do was fulfill his mission, and it's not like he wanted to rule the universe or anything like that. He wanted to fulfill his mission and then just go away. And he was out picking his little weird fruit and living in his little shed, and he was happy. And when they showed up,
that scene reminded me
he
of,
had no fight in him whatsoever. He was like, okay, I'm not going to put up a fight. And, he didn't really care whether they killed him or not.
It made me think about The Walking Dead. They've had so many scenes like that where the people are supposed to be talking to each other, and then Daryl just shoots somebody with an arrow or whatever. And then everybody's like all appalled, like why did you do that?
Oh, yeah, that's true. Someone just pointed out in the chat, Lowell just pointed out that he had just destroyed the Infinity Stones and had taken a toll. He was like half destroyed anyway.
That's true. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But
he was already hurt once he did the snap. He was already hurt too.
Yeah.
Yeah. What I didn't like of what they did with Thanos was towards the end, which I'll jump quite a bit. I wasn't too thrilled with, now that I think about it, the way he went from. He was almost like he was a very well thought out villain to where he had his mission. He wanted to wipe out half of life. He wanted it because he thought that everyone would be better off if half the life was gone for whatever reason. And that was it. That was all he wanted to do. And he was even very respectful, like in Infinity War when he was fighting Tony Stark. And he was like, you know what? He was like giving a lot of respect to Tony, saying, I hope that the people that are left when I'm done remember you. And he wasn't, he wasn't like trash talking or anything like that. And he didn't ever have this like maniacal, like, I'm going to control everything, I'm going to kill everybody. But then at the end of this movie, he's like, you know what? You guys have pissed me off, and I think I'm just gonna kill everything now. And I think they did that because it's like, oh, they have to up the stakes because he already killed half of everything. So what's the only thing you can do to go further than that is to have him all of a sudden say he wants to kill and wipe out all life and start all over again, which maybe it's got some backstory to the comics, maybe, but I thought that was out of
something
character.
like that did happen in the comics.
I felt like it was out of character for this Thanos that had been portrayed up to that point. Even in this movie, where the past Thanos was like, oh, he's looking at his future and he says, "I win," and then he sees himself being killed and he's okay with it. He's like, well, that's a worthy destiny. Like, I'm okay with this. And then he goes from that to, fuck y'all. I'm gonna destroy your planet and kill all life. So
I think it has. I mean, he went through his plan. He won, and then he sees that the remaining and he describes it as such, that the remaining life is still trying to fight back and undo what he did. So I guess he feels like as long as these guys are out there, there's always going to be a chance that they're going to go back and try to fix this and undo it. So if he's dead, and even when he sees himself dead, he's not going to be around to try to do it again or to be present to fix it. So I guess he decides, and he's also got a bit of crazy to him as well. I mean, you got to, he is the Mad Titan, for Christ's sake. That's enough to put him over the edge to think, well, if they're going to undo my work, then I'm going to undo every damn thing and just start from scratch. I mean, yeah, it does kind of collapse him into a typical villain, but I think at that point in the story, he had the shits of going about it the proper way. He's like, okay, I tried to do it right by y'all. I tried to keep half of you around, but this is how you're going to do it. So I need to change the game.
Yeah,
I was okay with that.
Yeah, what match is that?
I don't know. I think it was fine, but at that point, like, it was all-out warfare anyway, so it really didn't affect the story one way or the other. Even if he had said, well, I'm going to just snap again, would it have changed anything? It's still, everything would have played out the same way, and just if he'd have just kept the same plan. So I don't know. I guess that's just the way of him breaking the cycle, so he doesn't have to worry about anybody being around to undo it.
No.
Yeah.
He could have snapped away just the people that are gonna be strong enough to resist.
Well, that's true too. We saw that the snap can be targeted. So.
Yeah.
What's interesting though is, did you catch where Hulk had said that he tried to bring back Natasha, and it still didn't work?
Yeah.
Even the power of the Infinity Stones, and he still couldn't bring back Nat.
Well, we don't know because they kind of left things open, and she's supposed to have she's supposed to be shooting her movie in a couple of weeks or something like that.
I kind of
they
assumed
could be
that
alive on that planet.
I kind of assumed that her movie was going to be a backstory. Do we know?
Yeah, so I don't know. I think it may be, but you just brought up a good point, like that she could be alive on that planet. When they were all revived
with Gamora.
Obviously, Spider-Man and all those and Star-Lord weren't on. What was the name of that planet? Thanos' planet, where they would die. So basically, when they got revived, they didn't appear where they left off. They appeared back on Earth somehow.
Well, no, they were where they left off.
No,
Strange brought them all back.
I think Doctor Strange would have. Yeah.
Oh, did he? Did they say that?
He would have just teleported them from Thanos' world.
Strange was with them on Titan when the snap happened, so he would have brought them from Titan with him and then gone around the world and
Can he do that? Because why was he so
Those
obsessed?
portals go everywhere, right?
I guess so. I guess that's more of a plot hole than with Infinity War, because he was like, "Can you fix the ship and turn us around?" When he could have just opened a portal and walked through it.
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff. Doctor Strange could have just killed everybody by himself, to be honest. Just like Scarlet Witch. Like, she was strong enough in the first movie to hold off Thanos while he had 5 Infinity Stones, plus kill Vision at the same time.
Yeah, I like that they had her face off against him. I was disappointed that we didn't get a Hulk and Thanos rematch. I was looking forward to that.
I mean, at this point, he had a line of people that were waiting to fight him, so
yeah,
they had to stop somewhere.
Yeah,
and they really
Hulk has
they held him back a lot
healing
as far
factor,
as. Well, that's what I thought. Like when he got damaged by when he did his snap, I don't understand why he wouldn't have healed. But
Yeah.
Matt was saying that when we were eating after the movie that maybe it's because it was the Infinity Stones and it was that collective power that damaged him that maybe that overrid his healing, because it was some time later and he still had his arm in a sling. But I was looking
Yeah,
forward
I
to
think
seeing
he
him
should've
go
healed,
like
but that's for the
completely
plot.
berserk. Because in the first movie, well, I keep saying I say first movie, but in Infinity War, you had the whole Hulk not wanting to come out thing, and they explained that away of him saying like he just had to merge the two personalities together, and basically made just he was just a more subdued, smart Hulk all the time kind of thing. But I was looking forward to them kind of bringing that whole thing to a close of like having the Hulk, for whatever reason he was not coming out in Infinity War, get over that. And because really, if you wanted to stick with like the history, the Hulk is probably one of the strongest characters that they have, and he really should have been able to go toe to toe with Thanos at any time and put him down.
They nerfed him on purpose so that the core three could defeat him.
Yeah.
Thor, Iron Man, and Captain America. But that's why watching that, I know my brother wouldn't want to see the movie. He would be pissed once he see how they did the Hulk. He would probably just leave out the dang movie.
Oh, really?
But I did think because he likes the World Breaker Hulk and all that. But I thought
Yeah,
they were showing
World Breaker.
signs that he could possibly go crazy. Because remember when Thor kept touching him, he's like, take your hand off of me or something like that.
Yeah, he sounded like
I
he
was
was
thinking
creeping
about to go
towards.
crazy.
Yeah, I did too. I kept waiting for him to lash out.
Mm-hmm.
Was there ever much
well,
in the final fight? Was there ever much of him fighting? Because there was a shit ton of stuff going on. I can't remember them specifically calling out Hulk doing much. I could be totally
They
wrong.
kind of had him trapped. He was holding up the building for the whole longest time.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was holding up a building for a while there, but then after that, I don't really recall him having much of an impact on that final battle scene, really. I think he just kind of was in the
remember seeing
background.
him do something. But his arm was messed up then too, right?
Yeah.
Right, because he brought all the heroes back, and then the war broke out.
That was crazy. I didn't expect that ship to just come out of nowhere and start blasting up the whole place. The Avengers compound.
Oh yeah, that was yeah, Ant-Man. I was like, oh, he did.
And then I was like, yeah, he was right there, point blank. I was like, how the hell is he alive?
Yeah, how does anybody survive that?
Shrank. He shrank, and when he shrinks, his body is more dense or some crap.
Yeah.
It must have went through a pocket of dust or something like that.
I did like how they did that though, with because when they're going back through time and they got their mission, at some point that you're going to circle back around and there's going to be a final battle. But like how they were going to get there was kind of like I didn't know how they were going to do it. But when they made Nebula really was like probably one of the obviously aside from Tony Stark and the major three Avengers, and well, Black Widow too, but Nebula had a big part in this movie. She was a very significant part of this movie, and the way that they did that, where the two nebulas being in that time that they kind of shared the same
Wi-Fi.
Yeah, the same Wi-Fi signal. They should have changed their freaking password or something. I don't know, but I thought that was pretty clever for them to do that, and that was how Thanos learned about what was going on, and that it really was I guess at that point that was pre-Avengers Thanos, right? Like before everything happened.
Yeah, because that was,
No,
because he had none of the stones.
it wasn't. It wasn't before the first Avengers. It was after. It was after Age of Ultron. I think.
After Age of Ultron. Oh yeah, because after
I
that
mean,
he was
wait,
like, that's when he was like, I'll
was
do it
Civil-
myself. So it's
No, that
probably
was after
Was
the
Winter
Avengers.
Soldier before? Was
So
Winter
that-
Soldier before or after Age of Ultron?
I'm looking. I got the list here.
It was-
Winter Soldier was
It was
before Age of Ultron.
yeah, because it was 2014. So Guardians of the Galaxy, Winter Soldier, and Ant-Man. No, Ant-Man was the next year. So Guardians of the Galaxy and Winter Soldier came out the same year.
Yeah, and they happened before Age of Ultron.
okay.
But
So it's
Thanos,
before Age of Ultron.
you see Thanos for the first time at the end of Avengers, though, not Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see him, but he doesn't.
Oh, you
he
mean
doesn't
when he takes the gauntlet and says, "I'll do it myself"?
Yeah. So,
Okay, I gotcha.
but it was around that time, because he didn't have any of the stones yet. Well, he didn't have any of the stones right up until the very beginning of Infinity War. We didn't get to see exactly how he got the first stone, but they said he basically laid waste to that one planet and took it. But I thought that was really interesting how that they did that, and that she was then turned into a spy, and to have that ship come through. I mean, I guess it was a little bit of a stretch, I guess, for them to get that whole ship through there. But
Didn't see it coming though.
I didn't see it coming at all.
Fast.
No, I did not. I thought that all of this originally, when as I knew there was going to be some sort of time travel thing going on, I had it in my mind that they were going to be in the past at some point, and that Thanos that was alive in the past is who they would go up against, but they would be in the past doing it, not brought all the way back. Basically, they came all the way back home. They did their snap, and I was like, okay, we won. And then all of a sudden, boom! No, you didn't.
Yes, I was under the impression that it was going to be they were going to fight the Battle of New York again, and then this time follow up into the portal or whatever, and then fight like that would be. They would chase up in there. That's what I had in my mind. How it was going to go down. And I got to say too, for the amount that this movie covers, and then the amount of oh shit moments that at least I went through of stuff that I never could have predicted, was kind of staggering. Maybe like I said, I did not go through knowing anything, no spoilers or seeing many trailers, and this movie was full of stuff where I was like, I can't believe that just happened. Just out of nowhere.
Well, like I said, there was a lot of fan service moments, and probably the biggest one is Cap using. Well, no, not the girl power. That was a big fan service moment, but not the one I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of when Captain America lifted Thor's hammer and started wielding it. When that came out of nowhere and hit Thanos, and then he caught it. That was one of the moments where the whole theater was like, "Oh my god!" And that was that was a huge.
My brain
and then
almost exploded.
And then for Thor to be like at the same time, like you get a payoff of Thor saying, "I knew it," because you go all the way back to that scene. That was just a fun, innocent little scene, and then boom, you got another payoff. 12 movies later?
Somebody said he's probably worthy, but he wasn't really worthy until he admitted to Tony that he knew that Bucky was his parents' killer. So once he admitted it, that was him being worthy.
Oh, you think that was him like shedding off the last secret he was keeping, kind of like?
I think he was worthy the whole time. I think he could have lifted all the way back at that scene at the beginning of Age of Ultron. I think he could have lifted the hammer, but he purposely didn't. I think he held back because he didn't want to. He didn't want to upstage Thor, and he just because you saw it wiggle, and Thor was like, "Oh wait a minute, is he gonna pick it up?" And he was like, and then he's like, "Oh no, I can't do it." And then you get that payoff. All this time later was pretty sweet.
I completely forgot about that scene with Vision where he just picked it up like it was nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's how they knew they could trust him. That was kind of the moment where everything shifted. Now, would you guys say that it'd be fair to say that this movie is a lot like everybody's in it and there's clear stars, but I would say this is a lot of a Nebula Hawkeye movie. I think they both get their golden, and we talked about it a bit, but I think especially Hawkeye, like this is a good, any Hawkeye fans out there that thinks maybe he was kind of underrated or undercut for the other movies kind of gets this payout.
Yeah, definitely Nebula, definitely a lot of Hawkeye, especially because of that opening scene. Definitely a lot of it was. Yeah, I wouldn't say it's any one person's movie. Like
right.
Infinity War was clearly Thanos, Josh Brolin stole the show, and that was their movie. In this one, there was no one character that really stood out and was like, this was their movie. You could maybe say Iron Man, but everyone had major parts to play. I was really surprised at how much it was revolved around Nebula and Hawkeye and Scott.
Yeah, that's true.
Scott really in the middle of the movie, or not really the middle, but I guess partway through the first act into the middle of the movie was really Scott Lang's. For a while there, it was his show. You know, he played a major part of it.
That's what I felt like. The second act was definitely an Ant-Man movie, all the way. Like the whole tone and everything. And then it shifted back to Avengers. But I thought it was amazing how everybody got screen time. And that, like, 3 hours, every single main character that didn't get snapped away at important part. Besides the secondary characters like Pepper and whatnot.
Yeah.
I almost forgot she was there.
And even she got her moment. I mean, they're on the couch when Tony discovered time travel. Even she got time to shine. And then when she got a rescue armor.
For a second there, I thought maybe she wasn't going to be in the movie because you saw Tony and his kid, and they're referencing, you know, Pepper, but it was like, oh, Mom told me to come save you, and he's like, oh, okay. I was thinking to myself, like, is she not going to be in this? Like, shouldn't we have seen her by now? And then she was just sitting there on the couch chilling, and then ended up having a big part at the end. You know, that she was pretty heavily involved in. Was pretty cool.
I saw
but you know what?
With her with the helmet on.
Oh, did you? Yeah. See, I was. Yeah. Thankfully, I avoided pretty much all spoilers. The only thing I saw was when I was scrolling through YouTube, I did see a close up of Thor with the beard and the braided part, but I was like, you know what, that doesn't tell me anything, so I didn't care about that. I didn't click on anything, but I was impressed at how they resisted the urge to have Captain Marvel. You know, everyone thought, oh, Captain Marvel's going to come in and it's going to be this OP character and she's just going to come out of nowhere, save the day, and all these characters that we spent all this time with, they're going to be, you know, kind of standing in the background while she does her thing. And they didn't. She was hardly in the movie. She had maybe she probably had 10 or less minutes of screen time. She was hardly in the movie. In a 3-hour movie, she really wasn't in it much at all.
I think they did that on purpose to give you the payoff with the main characters. And she gets to have her payoff in the future movies.
And
but a lot of people, I don't know, that part when Thanos tried to hit her in the head and it just bumped on her force field, and the whole audience was like, woo!
Yeah, same with us.
Like, they liked that.
And I think too, like that sort of shows Marvel's foresight with this. I think everybody panicked that she was going to do that. She's going to swoop in at the last minute and save the day. When I'm guessing Disney has more far-reaching plans for her. You know, they just kind of sprinkled her in here, gave her the explanation.
I think they have brains, because nobody would have wanted to see her come in there and kill him that quick. And just like we already saw that in the beginning when Thor just chopped his head off. Yeah. If it would have happened at the end too, that would have been so boring.
Yeah. And they had their fight. I mean, they tussled for sure, but it didn't last long.
Mm-hmm. Plastic Addict in the chat says her presence was definitely felt at the end. She crippled Thanos' ship, made it look like Swiss cheese. We're going to officially relegate Captain Marvel to whenever there is a spaceship in any future movies that need to be destroyed, we're just going to call in because that's like her signature move is flying through spaceships. They should have her screaming the whole time like the dude in the Lego movie when she does that. She just should be going, spaceships, spaceship, spaceship.
But she and her
I like how she
explanation
can
for where
talk
she's
in
been
space.
too, like that really was the best way to go about it. When she explains that there are tons of other planets out there, guys, and they don't have you.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
that's perfect
exactly.
explanation as to where she's been this whole time.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked it.
Like, yeah. How'd she know to come back? Right then. Did Doctor Strange call her?
We'll go with that.
Yeah, who knows?
He called all them
I'm
wizards
kind of
from all over the
curious,
planet.
like how when she got her page from Nick Fury, did she go straight or just happen to run into Tony Stark when he was floating out in space, or did she go back to Earth first and then they said, "Hey, by the way, Tony's lost out there. Can you go get him?" Or
Yes.
like how did that go down?
Yeah, I get the impression they sent her to find him because I think
I didn't think about that.
the end of Captain Marvel is her arriving for the first time on Earth, asking where Fury is, and then they go and send her to rescue. Because that would make more sense if she knows where the planets are, and they could say, "Hey, we haven't heard from Tony or Nebula. You know, you need to head off in that direction and see." That makes more sense to me than her just randomly fucking happening upon them.
I think I'm forgetting that scene, but now I do remember that. Yeah, where she's like, "Where's Fury?"
Yeah, because when this movie starts, she knows they've all been introduced already. She's already a part of the group.
Yeah, that's what I was confused about. I was like, so did that scene not happen? But now I'm just saying that makes perfect sense. But of course, we got to speculate since it wasn't straight up said.
Yeah. I'm sure some.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I was gonna say that I'm sure somebody sometimes gonna put together like an epically long, like 100-hour long supercut of all the films, all of the post-credit scenes, put them in chronological order to where you could go and watch from beginning to end the entire. Because if you think about it, like what we just talked about, that scene. Like it's easy to forget about little scenes like that, but that everything is explained. I mean, there's some plot holes for sure, but there's not very many. You know, they're minor plot holes. I really think they did a very rare for them to put together something this big where everything kind of meshed together and everything just worked.
Yeah, 11 years, 22 movies, and there's only minor plot holes throughout. Like, that's cinema perfection. I don't know.
That's pretty damn impressive.
Yeah. Also, too, you got to think, you were talking about Captain Marvel coming back to the fight. Wherever she was, she would have noticed that suddenly fucking everybody's back, right? That would have been her notice that some shit is going on. She would have noticed that everybody came back instantly. So she probably would have said, "I might want to go check out what's going on."
Yeah.
True.
What do you guys think of Fat Thor?
I loved Fat Thor. Thor Lebowski was a nice welcome surprise, and I don't collect too much or really at all any Marvel action figures, and that was going to be my next question was what do you guys want action figure wise? But I want a Thor Lebowski.
I don't want that.
I think the way they handled Thor was perfect. Because
did one of you guys say that they nerfed him on purpose?
Let's
Did
say
one of y'all say that did one of y'all say they nerfed him on purpose, made him fat so he wouldn't beat up?
I think so. I think they nerfed him. I think they brought him down so he wouldn't be a powerhouse. I think he was kind of like not quite as OP as he normally is. But if you look, like Infinity War, this dude has lost everything, and they give you the scene to plan it, to show that this guy has been through hell and back.
Mm-hmm.
and then the end of Infinity War happens, and then this guy just totally breaks mentally and then eventually physically. And I think that it makes sense to me that he's the one that gets hit the hardest and takes it the hardest.
Yeah,
And
because
the
he
path they
went
go
through
with him is perfect, I think.
he went through the whole, you know, he took a freaking supernova to forge his weapon, and he went through all this to get that weapon and thinking, you know, now I can defeat Thanos. And he thought he had him, man. He was like, he even got his sweet little payoff at the end of Infinity War when he hit him in the chest with the axe, and he was like, "I told you you'd die for that," because he killed, you know, when he killed, oh man, what's his name?
Loki.
No, not Loki. When he
Heimdall?
killed, yeah, Heimdall. Is that what his name is?
Heimdall.
Heimdall. And he says, "Oh,
Yeah.
you're gonna die for that," and he gets his payoff at the end where he says, "I told you you'd die for that," and he really thought that he had it, and then to have everything just kind of like slip through his fingers. He was like, I'm a god and I should be able to, it was my responsibility to end this. And that's why he took it so hard. And I think it makes perfect sense, especially after they catch up to Thanos and he kills Thanos, but it didn't mean anything. It didn't matter. The stones are gone and nothing changed. So he kills the bad guy, and then I think his reality just kind of went crashing down on him. And it was just like, okay, bring in the beer, and I guess he just hangs out with Korg and plays Xbox all day.
Fortnite, apparently.
Fortnite, yeah.
I think it was PlayStation.
Maybe so.
I remember seeing the light on the controller. I was shocked Korg was taller than the Hulk, but Hulk wasn't his full size.
Yeah, Hulk was definitely he was nerfed as well a bit. Makes sense, I guess.
And you know, they have to do this because you almost have to nerf some of these characters down. But I think the way they did it, you know, makes sense. It's better than them just being as powerful as they were and just not really being as effective, I guess. I think it makes sense.
You know, as visually appealing. It's just one punch and you're gone. You know.
Yeah. I like that. Even when Captain Marvel was overpowering Thanos, he was still smart enough to grab the stone and use it against her.
Yeah.
Knock her all the way up.
Another one of those little shocking moments.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew it wasn't going to be that easy. Like somebody said, since she got her power from Tesseract, he'd be able to use that stone against her. It wasn't so dramatic with you just used it real quick.
So,
another Spider-Man. They answered the question for me with Spider-Man. I was like, if Spider-Man would have been on Earth when they went to Wakanda, would he kill all those monsters? So they got around it by making his suit kill the monsters with the kill mode.
Which is one of those little seeds they planted way back in
cool.
Homecoming. Yeah.
Now, here's a question about Spider-Man. When the snap happened, did they ever say whether his friend, the fat kid, was snapped? Or any of his other kids that he went to school with? Because the way I took it at the end,
same age.
When he shows up in school and they're the same age, I get it that he has to go back in school because he missed 5 years. Like, it's not like he can just be like, okay, can you hand me a diploma now? Like, he's got to go back to school. But does that mean like all the cast of the Spider-Man movie was snapped away so that they can keep it in continuum? Or would some of the kids or some of his friends had survived and now they're 5 years older?
That's a good question.
I think all the cast, the main cast.
Too easy to just say they're all. Because I bet you when we see Spider-Man, he's going to have the same teachers and everything too.
So you think maybe in Far From Home, if that takes place after this, which I guess it does, they should have some 5-year older kids in his class with him just randomly, like without explanation?
No, they would already be graduated. They'd be gone. What I'm
Well, you're
saying was like,
assuming too that school keeps going. I mean, like I said, they lost half of everybody. As far as I'm concerned, I'm willing to bet the commerce and education and everything, it shuts down at least for a few years.
oh, I don't know, maybe.
Well, no, I don't. I think stuff still went on because we saw Hawkeye had perfect cell phone service from his wife that just reappeared,
That's right.
and she had a cell phone on. Her cell phone service was on for 5 years.
Look, Verizon
She
doesn't
was able
fuck
to
around,
call her.
okay?
You know, I was thinking about that because I did catch your guys' chat earlier, and I saw you asking about that. I think it's because they have the Shield cell network. They must have like SIM cards for life that are always connected.
Yeah, he's a SHIELD agent. You know,
Yeah.
he would have had the special tech,
Yeah.
the secret stuff.
And his cell phone must have been secret tech too because that thing was pristine. I'm like, he goes overseas and kills people, and his cell phone didn't fall down once.
That's movie magic.
It should have like
That's
cracks in it. That part took me out of the movie. That's one of the scenes that took me out when that phone rang, and it was like a perfect phone.
There wasn't anything that really took me out of the movie. I would say that the only part that was really like an eye roll, which it was too, it was short. It didn't really impact anything. Was the she's not alone, and all the girls just happened to be standing in the same spot, and they were all ready for their team up moment. And there's a huge battle going on, and it's just like, okay, they all happen to be standing there, But at the same time, yeah, you give it an eye roll. I think even if I was those actresses and they're saying, okay, here we're going to film this scene, I would be the one that would be like, that doesn't make any sense. Why would we all happen to be standing right here together?
And what is
Somebody
Wasp
probably
going to
said
do?
that. They had us say that.
Captain Marvel's there with the football, and Wasp shows up. I'm like, what are you going to do to help? How are you, like, you can shoot your little energy
Wasp
blast.
or Mantis?
And Mantis, yeah.
Mantis was the one that I don't know what she was doing during that whole battle.
Like Pepper is rescue, and
Wasp?
the other women like Valkyrie and all, like, yeah, I got you. You're gonna kick some ass and help out.
Mhm.
But just a few of them, you're like, why? You're there to do what now?
I thought Wasp was a badass.
Wasp is pretty powerful.
I think she's a perfect replacement for. She's way more powerful than Black Widow if she was there.
Sure, but I mean,
Because she can do everything
back up
Black Widow
Captain
can
Marvel,
do, but
though?
she can also.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Like, how's she
She's
going
super
to help?
strong. Technically, she could turn giant.
I don't know. It was like
Insane,
it was a
dude.
cool little moment, and hate it or love it or whatever. It was about
Yeah.
10 seconds. So
Yeah, but it was the only
Only
part
if
of
she
the
was
movie.
Mantis.
It was the only part of the movie where I was like, huh, really? Like, okay. Oh, like even like everything else, like that was a fan service moment. If you want to consider it that way, I'm sure that it meant a lot to some people seeing that, but it didn't change the story at all. It didn't. If they would have had all the girls at the end team up and all bitch slap Thanos to death, I would have walked out my ass out the theater. But it didn't impact anything. Like, they had their moment. It was 2 seconds, and then everything went back to the way it was. So it's fine.
I'll tell you what took me out of the movie.
Yeah, that was
was
goofy.
Audi. Audi took me out of the movie twice.
Yeah.
That fucking car, man. That camera lingers about 2 seconds too long on the Audi logo.
Yeah.
I'm like, how much did y'all pay to get these 2 shots? Oh, you know what, though? I give them even less credit than that, because they showed Tony driving up to the compound for, like, it was like a 20-second scene where he's tearing down the road and then comes around while they're watching.
Mhm.
I'm like, you're driving a fucking Audi, aren't you? And they pull up right to the logos, right at the camera.
Well, at least during those 5 years, the society must have collapsed and all that. But at least Audi was still making cars.
new cars, yeah. Pristine looking brand new cars, even though the rest of the world looks like a fucking apocalypse.
Yeah.
That's your product placement, I guess.
That's right. Go buy Audi, everybody.
Yep, or go buy us an Audi.
That's right. Everybody pitch in.
How did y'all feel when Black Widow died?
I enjoy seeing Scarlett Johansson on screen. so I was not happy about that. I thought she's a good character, but I think her and Hawkeye were kind of out of place, like men among gods. But they always managed to find something for them, so I felt like this was fitting. I think it was. I think it was a good death and a good way to go about handling the character.
Yeah, I didn't know what was going to happen there. I really thought that they were going to have Hawkeye end up being the one that sacrificed himself. But I would say that I was worried when that happened. When I first saw that she was dead, that I was like, okay, well, this is not going to last. They're going to find a way. Because at the end of the movie, when they're victorious and they get their snap, they're going to fix it. They're going to bring her back. And the fact that they kept her dead, and for whatever reason, maybe she couldn't come back, I thought that was pretty ballsy. So it made it mean more. If they would have had her come back, like she appeared out of nowhere and be like, "Oh, hey, everybody," then it wouldn't have had the same impact.
Yeah, because Gamora's still dead too. The Gamora from the original timeline is still dead. So yeah, we were talking about this. We were talking about this at lunch afterwards. So at the end of the movie, Cap takes the briefcase full of Infinity Stones. Right, his mission is to go back and return them, so the timeline carries on. How would you feel if you're Red Skull and Captain America shows up with the Soul Stone and just hands it back to him? It's like, hey, we're done with this. And Red Skull's like, but the chick threw herself off she's still down there. Like, we haven't even cleaned her up yet. Do you want this to give the Soul Stone back? Yeah, like, no, we're done with it. You keep it, man. And how about that reunion, too, when Cap goes to hand the stone back over and Red Skull's like, are you? Yeah. And Cap goes, wait, are you? And they shake hands and they have a hug.
I think they have an opportunity for a lot of
to revive Black Widow.
I guess it's possible, and maybe we just didn't see it yet.
I mean, we actually got a movie coming out, so we got to know what that's about.
Yeah, but I do think that that's going to be in the past. I don't know, unless they don't think they can make her look young enough for whatever reason. But I would like to see like a spin-off series of like short films of the characters in those past time frames, like when the Avengers went back and they took the stones and then messed with the timeline. I want to see like a brief thing of like, I want Thor going around in the Dark World alternate reality where he's looking for his hammer and it's nowhere to be found, and he's just like looking underneath couch cushions and everything and flipping stuff upside down because he can't find his hammer. You know, like
he answered that question. He said Cap brought the hammer back to him because Cap had it when he went back in time, so he returned the hammer.
Yeah, that was one of the things he had to return. But I think
he was missing it for a little while there, right?
Yeah.
No, not if Cap went back to the exact moment that it was.
Oh, right, because he had to go back and put him in the.
Don't ruin it for me. I want this. And I think Chris Hemsworth is up for it. I want him to do it. He did those where he's like hanging out with the normal dude. Have you guys seen those?
I've seen that.
Where he like goes to work in like a regular office and whatnot. Like they need to make this where he's just running. Where's my hammer? Has anyone seen my hammer? Where is it?
Rabbit.
Damn rabbit.
And all the Asgardians call Rocket Rabbit. That made me chuckle out loud. I love that. Catch the rabbit.
I didn't know what a rabbit is. Oh, but did anybody notice that? Here's something I'll talk about later. Heimdall didn't see that Thor and Rocket came into the city. Like, he's supposed to be able to see everything.
How do you know he didn't?
But
how do you know he didn't and just ignored it?
Just like the Sorcerer Supreme knew about Doctor Strange well before when Hulk asked her, she's like, "Oh yeah, he's over there. He doesn't know who he is yet. He's not with us yet."
Yeah, that was cool. That felt like somebody meeting Deadpool.
Yeah,
like, that's exactly what Deadpool would have did. All right, you haven't seen this movie yet.
I mean, I'm guessing Heimdall was a smart dude. I'm guessing that he probably noticed that there was another Thor, and that probably figured there was a good reason for it. You know.
Do y'all think those were new scenes with Natalie Portman?
Yeah, I think they were because she was credited.
Wow, that's like she got an easy pay.
Yeah. All she had to do was get up off a couch.
Michelle Pfeiffer too. She had an easy
Nick
payday.
Fury.
That's true. That was pretty impressive that
Fury
they
was in there
got.
for 2 seconds.
They got a lot of these actors to come back. Robert Redford to come
Yeah,
back.
just for 2-second clips, they dug all these guys up.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
I think the one person that they missed, though, that just occurred to me that everyone's going to bitch about for the next 20 years is the, and y'all are going to crucify me for not knowing his name, but the fast-talking storyteller from Ant-Man.
Oh, yeah. I don't think he would have been too silly, too goofy for this movie, though. Yeah, so
they did a lot of goofy.
They did. There was a lot of cheesy moments, but it was funny. It was good stuff.
That is America's ass.
I thought the humor was
say something like that.
Was just right. I don't think they went too overboard with the humor.
No, it was a little more lower key and humor-wise than the other movies.
I think it was more humor. I don't know. Besides Ant-Man and Ragnarok, they haven't been like this.
Maybe just because it was spread out over so long a movie. I don't know.
Yeah, because it was 3 hours long. But
I think you had asked Joe. What? I think you had said what Marvel Legends figures would you want to see from this that they didn't already announce or have? Fat Thor.
Well, yeah, other than Thor Lebowski, I mean, trying to think back of what would be pretty cool to see.
Korg. Everybody wants Korg.
Well, everybody wants a Korg, yeah.
Rescue.
One thing I thought was cool, like a lot of stuff, that end part like blew my mind. Like when they had the Black Order there, that was exciting because I didn't expect them to be in it. Because they never showed the Black Order in those old movies.
Well, that's true. They didn't really factor in until Infinity War. Well, they didn't factor in at all until Infinity War.
I didn't see Proxima at Midnight. Did y'all see her?
They had a group shot of all of them. I didn't notice her specifically, but I thought she was there.
I'm pretty sure she was there.
It was going too fast.
Yeah, there was a lot. I mean, that's a movie you can watch 2 or 3 times and not catch everything.
Mm-hmm.
I think sometimes he's too stupid. The way he was attacking Call Obsidian, I'm like, he's supposed to know how to fight.
Now, do you guys think that the whole Cap going back in time and staying there, does that mess up the whole way they establish time travel? Because they said, like, when you go back and you do things, it's not going to affect.
I do.
You know, because he went back. I'm assuming he went back to. How far back do you think he went? Like after he returned all the stones?
After World War II.
He would have gone
the
back.
70s because he returned the Tesseract in the 70s. He probably just stayed there.
Yeah, but she would have been like 50-some years old in the 70s.
No, he saw her through the.
Well, that's true. That's another thing. They didn't make her look old enough because
he saw her through the glass.
He disappeared in 45, and she was what, in her 20s, maybe, even though she was very high ranking for the age she was. But let's say she was 25. So in 1970, she would have been 50.
Well, you got to imagine he's been aging too since he came out of the ice, though. I mean, he's been around the Avengers and the modern age for what, nearly 10 years.
But the super serum should slow his healing down. I mean, his aging down.
Yeah.
Like I just learned in the comics that Black Widow supposed to have some type of. I did to you.
Yeah, I think he went back to
I
like
would say closer
right.
to after World War II.
Yeah, like
Maybe.
after he had disappeared in ice, I think he went back to then and lived his life with her. And then I think it does mess up the whole fact that he could have just he lived out that life naturally. He didn't use because if he would have used the time travel to return, he would have appeared back on the pad at that 5 second after waiting 5 seconds. He would have appeared and he would have been an old man. That would have preserved the whole like alternate past timeline thing. But I think they intended that scene to be that he actually waited all that time. She probably died just like she did in what was it what movie did they find out that she had died? And that's another thing. When he went back and hooks up with her, does that erase the blonde chick? Now she's gone from existence because she never would have married the other guy and had her.
Well, I thought the blonde chick was her niece anyway.
I think it wasn't her daughter or granddaughter.
No,
it
Stephen
was-
Brent's saying niece.
I think that's
Oh,
her
it's a
niece.
niece. Okay, so that preserves that, I guess.
I think he lived his life. I don't know if I talked to y'all about this. I think he lived his life out with her, and then he teleported back to the present day. That's the only thing that can make sense with the way they describe time travel.
Mhm.
Because he would not have been able to be in the current timeline.
Why didn't he appear on the pad then?
He wouldn't have appeared on the
Maybe
pad
happened
because
off camera.
if he would have stayed in the past, basically what happened then is he stayed in the past and he basically he didn't have to do anything because there was already a Captain America out there. Like when all that stuff went down, the battle in New York and all that, he would have been observing. He was like watching out of the news, but he didn't have to do anything because his younger self was already there. Was basically two caps.
There were three. During the Battle of New
That's-
York, there would have been three caps.
There would have been three, but when Steve left on the pad, the old man was probably was walking up. He probably just got there, and he's like, "Okay, I just went through back in time. Now I'm going to go sit on the bench."
That's the impression I got too. Yeah.
Yeah. Anytime time travel is involved, there's always a lot of like plot, a little bit of hand waving that has to happen.
I did almost walk out of the theater though when they called Back to the Future bullshit.
They did.
that was almost like a rage quit.
Yep.
Did they mention butterfly effect?
Did they? I don't know. I kept catching the Back to the Future references.
I know butterfly effect was Back to the Future because when he would come back to the present, all the memories would come into his brain of the things that he missed. Now that he's changed the past. I'm like, that would be convenient.
Yeah.
But folks, I gotta go.
Yeah. I think you want to wrap this, Joe? I think we've.
Yeah, I
there's
think
lots of videos out there, lots of people talking, lots of things to say. But that's just our 2 cents. Now, I know when our proper episode rolls around on Thursday, I'm sure that Jordan will have slightly different point of view about the movie. His opinion differs a little bit. He was busy tonight. We tried to get him on. But I'll let him tell you about how he feels about it. And Dave hasn't seen it yet. So
Yep.
It'll probably be spoiler-free on the show just to respect because it's only been a week. Not even a week. Well, it will have been a week that night.
Wow, we should definitely keep it spoiler-free for Dave.
Yeah, spoiler-free. We're not assholes. Well, we are, but not in spoiling movies. So,
Yeah, we're not. Yeah, we're assholes, but we're decent about it.
we're decent assholes.
Yeah.
Maybe Dave could take a break.
But any other final thoughts, anybody, or are you just going to close her out?
Yeah. Close her out.
Close her out. All right, we said our piece. You guys know where we stand. Excellent movie. Excellent cap to And that was the one last thing I'll say is that it was a bookend. They finished the story. They didn't like dangle an after credit scene. They didn't start a new plot line. They finished the story. Now I know there's other plot lines that still exist that can carry over. But if you started from Iron Man to or the whatever they count as the first movie to this one, you have a complete story in one cohesive note, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
That way,
real quick before we go, what are your predictions on opening weekend numbers? When we go into work on Monday, what are we going to see opening weekend numbers?
That will have had 13 or 14 of my dollars.
I'm going to say
million.
I'm going to go with and no, we're talking worldwide, not just domestic.
$1
So
billion.
worldwide, I don't think it'll be $1 billion. I'm going to go with 750.
I'm going to say they made at least my $15.
I'm gonna say close to 12 billion.
All right, so Matt says $13.
At least $13, yeah.
And I'm saying 750 million, and T-Man's going with. You're gonna go to the billion. You're gonna go ahead and say it.
Well, I think opening day they've already made 300 million.
Yeah. And then worldwide,
For the whole weekend plus the middle of the week.
I think they'll definitely do $1 billion in a week's time, but I don't know if they'll do $1 billion in the weekend. If they did $1 billion in the weekend, that would be ridiculous. That would be crazy.
Just the weekend, maybe 500 million.
So now you're going to 500 million.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna go with 750. So.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for coming out, sitting with us a few minutes, and chewing the fat. We appreciate your support. We appreciate you guys tuning in and listening to what we have to say, because who the hell are we? With us is I'll just play him out. You got Joe. He had to say Joe. Thanks for coming by, Joe.
We'll be right back.
And we've got T-Man 978 who is trying to leave the restaurant. He's been there far too long. They're starting to call the police on him. They wonder why he's still there.
I have to go to the bathroom now.
He's going to the bathroom. So there's your live update, P-Man 978. All right, guys. We'll see you. Thanks for coming by. Have a good evening.